Hi, I'm Dr. David Dobson. Welcome to Conversations. Today, my guest is Dr. Mehdi Bensouda. Mehdi is a professor at the National School of Commerce and Management of Fez. He obtained his PhD in business administration from Sidi Mohamed bin Abdullah University-Fez-Morocco. His doctoral research focuses on promoting energy efficiency practices within corporate settings. Today, we will discuss his research on energy efficiency. It's a great pleasure to have you with me today, Mehdi.
Thank you for inviting me. I do appreciate it, Dr. David, if you don't mind.
Of course, please.
So I do have to start with expressing my gratitude for my students who were here for me during the last 3 years, during this journey. I do appreciate what they did to me. Obviously, the students of the National School of Commerce and Management here in Fez, as we call it, the University-Fez. And I do believe that was really an enriching experience for me to be there with them on a regular basis, to teach them, to be able to learn from them, and to see them and to witness their intellectual growth, and to be able to grow with them and from the interactions we have together. So I do appreciate them. I do know it's not really common to say that, but I do love them actually.
So it's very nice of you to do that. Your PhD research explored reducing energy efficiency barriers. Tell me, why were you interested in studying this topic?
Okay, I do believe if we understand the context as a whole, obviously it's going to be clearer for all of us. So we have to start with the definition of energy efficiency, which is simply put, using less energy to perform the same task and to have the same outcome within companies. So that's the first thing. And obviously, according to the literature, it is anonymous regarding the impact and the multiple benefits of energy efficiency on companies. Obviously, economic-wise and social-wise, we're talking here about using new technologies, then having less noise within the workplace, and obviously better lighting, and obviously increase the productivity. So these benefits and others are here. Well, in the same time, there are a lot of barriers to that, and there are a gap, what we call energy efficiency gap, between the potential, the full potential of energy efficiency, and the current level of energy efficiency within the companies here in my country, and even in other countries, even in the world. So the explanation for it is the existence of energy efficiency barriers. And for me, that was really interesting to study those barriers. That was the first thing, to study these barriers. What are these barriers? That's the number one the goal for me. The second one is to come up with tools to reduce their intensity. The only difference with prior literature is that I was not really interested in seeing this topic from an engineering standpoint or engineering or energy standpoint, but rather a managerial standpoint. I'm sorry, from a managerial standpoint. So that was the idea. The initial idea was that.
Your research explored the energy consumption of manufacturing companies. Share how you collected the data for your study.
Okay. Obviously, when we talk about data, we talk about collecting it as a number one step. And the second step, obviously, is the analysis of data. For the collection, obviously, we use the survey data extracted from questionnaires. At the end, we had 193 questionnaires that we have obtained. And the respondents were employees from the manufacturing sector in my country, here in Morocco. And the employers were working within departments such as logistics, finance, production, facilities. Overall, people within companies that should have allegedly the capability to answer our questions related, obviously, to energy issues. And from then we moved, obviously, to the analysis of data. And we use structural modeling equations using Smart PLS. I don't know if you are really familiar with that software or not. Smart PLS 3. It is really practical when it comes to to examining the relationship between two variables when you have dependent variable and an independent variable, but also complex relationships between more than two when you try to add variables, moderating ones and mediating ones. So that was the process in a nutshell, obviously.
Okay. So were these companies private companies or the public companies?
Private companies.
Okay.
Private companies. Yeah.
I would think that most companies don't want to share their, what they do, how they do their things, because for most companies try to keep their internal operation quite secret. But I find it pretty amazing that in your case, the company is willing to share their energy efficiencies and their work they do.
Yeah. And you know what? Something which is for me very interesting is that the questionnaire.
Yeah.
If the questions are not formulated the right way, sometimes they could be offended and not answer. And the question, if they are not formulated the right way again, the companies could feel that you look for informations that are confidential.
Right.
Okay. But if the wordings are simple, you can really extract a good amount of information out of them.
Okay. What did you learn from those surveys you conducted?
Okay. As I said in the beginning, the first part were to determine the main energy efficiency barriers.
Yeah.
And the second part were to come up with ways to tackle those barriers. So regarding the first one, we will talk just about the part that has been done till now, which is the behavioral barriers. Okay. Because I still have data which is not used.
Yeah.
I use just a part in my PhD, and I will use with time other information in other studies and other articles.
Okay.
So regarding these behavioral barriers, I can name 3, which are the most significant barriers within our sample, which are risk aversion, resistance to change, and satisfying behavior. Okay. When we talk about risk aversion, we talk about people being averse to taking decisions when the decisions are new. Okay. We have resistance to change. Sometimes we just resist to something new. Whenever something is new, the technology is new, the process is new, always we have this resistance to it. And the satisfying behavior, when we achieve and reach a certain level, which could be satisfying for us, we don't move forward for the simple reason is that, we did enough. We don't want to gain more. This level is satisfying for us. Okay. And those 3 barriers prevent you from moving forward and from implementing even more and to achieve the optimal level that we have talked about at the beginning. And after that, we talked about the ways to tackle them and to overcome those barriers. The number 1 is mimetic pressure, financial slack. We talk about dynamic capabilities and internal communications. For example, within your company, you have a company, for example, and employees. In every single time when you will introduce a new technology, an energy efficient technology, they will resist. Okay. Any other technology, if they are using papers, they are humans. Okay. If you use papers and after that you have to use laptops, for example, obviously they will resist.
Because you have to start over all over again. There's a learning curve, and if it worked in the past, why change what worked in the past? So there's always human nature.
Yeah, exactly. So for the managers, they have to implement an internal communication strategy. Meaning that they have to talk to them on a regular basis, and they have strategy between all the members of the company to explain the real challenges and to explain what we mean by energy efficiency. Because for a lot of people, energy efficiency is just a sacrifice, just to save energy. It has nothing to do with that. We are using less energy, but due to the use of new technologies, we are not sacrificing here. So that should be clear for all employees. And obviously, we have to tell them that we will all gain from it. It's going to benefit all of us because we will use less energy, so the bills will be obviously will decrease. So it's going to benefit the company as a whole.
Right.
So that should obviously be structured. This for the managers, they know what a communication strategy is and all the steps from the beginning to the end of it. Mimetic pressure is that if you want to reduce risk aversion, for example, to reduce risk aversion, for example, in your company, they don't want to take risks. What you can do is mimetic pressure, and governments could develop mimetic pressure when you see other companies succeeding while using energy efficiency practices. Other companies will be tempted by using the same technologies. So that's what we call the mimetic pressure. And obviously, we will maybe discuss that later about how government could obviously encourage and promote this mimetic pressure. And we have talked again about dynamic capabilities. Dynamic capabilities is the capability for a company to detect the different opportunities and to seize those opportunities, and after that, to implement them into the existing processes. If they have these three dynamic capabilities and they have an internal communication which is well done and well structured, and when a mimetic pressure is applied, the three behavioral barriers that we have talked about can be significantly reduced.
Right. So I'm thinking because new technology mean new investment, new changes. I mean, because sometimes it might looks easy, new technology, but changing the old infrastructure, bringing in a new technology, and that requires huge capital investment. And that because now it's a new technology, also required new labor practices, new training, new skill sets. So how would these companies will really massive changes adopt to such massive changes?
How they can do it? Because they do have a lot of challenges, I do believe. But at the end of the day, it's not really big investment here. We're not talking about big investments. We can, if you have a big factory and obviously you will invest, obviously that is expensive. But for other companies, it's not expensive at all. But again, we have studied the effect of financial stake.
Right.
For example, if you have money, does this have an influence and the positive impacts on your investments on energy efficiency? And we did find in an article, you can find it, and we'll share it with you after if you want.
Please.
Is that when a company has money, it doesn't mean automatically that they will invest in energy efficiency practices or in sustainability in general. They will just maybe invest in production activities, as they have always done before. Okay, because it's more or less certain, and they know exactly the outcome.
Right.
Okay. But what makes them know the reality is a managerial capability, which is dynamic capabilities. The capability to see the opportunities and to value the opportunities that are in front of them. Okay. When they see that there is a huge potential for winning and for gaining money, obviously they will invest. If they see that they could implement them within their existing processes, obviously they will invest. You know what I mean? Because they have money at the end of the day, they have money. It's just the usage of it that could change from a company to another.
So how do you want government to intervene in such transformation? Like, what is the role of government here now comes into play?
So when we're talking about mimetic pressure, we said that mimetic pressure is very important. And to activate that, the government has a say. Because they can publicize the best companies when it comes to this adoption, to the adoption of energy efficiency practices. Publicize them in the media, and then to create awards. I'm not talking here about a price tag or money or whatever. Just a recognition from the government regarding these governments, so that they could create an example to follow for other companies, and for them to show that it's possible to gain and to profit from those practices. And obviously, as I said, they have this mimetic behavior, those companies. When you see that it works elsewhere, obviously you will adopt it 100%.
Based on your research, what are your recommendations to promote energy efficiency practices?
So, as I said, government could intervene for applying this mimetic pressure. And for companies, what they could do for governments, I'm sorry again, for dynamic capabilities, because not all companies have this capability to seize the opportunities around them. Okay, because other companies are just working, there are small companies in part. Okay, so to compensate this lack of capabilities, and even for companies that could see obviously the best practices, it's hard for them to seize the opportunities, or to integrate those practices within the existing practices and the existing processes. It takes obviously skills for them to do it. We're talking more here about human and technical skills. So the government should or could do, actually, what the government could do is to simply go for compensating this lack of capabilities by providing the technical support, which means compensating the lack of incorporating within the internal processes, and also provide companies with the appropriate technologies for each sector of industry. And obviously that will compensate the lack of them detecting the best practices. You see? So even for companies that do not have actually those capabilities, they could be compensated by the intervention of governments.
I see. Okay. Can you share some of the let's say easy technology they can adopt very quickly to be more energy efficient?
All equipments. I'm talking about all equipments that uses the electric energy. That uses electricity. All of them. We have new technologies available in all countries that reduce significantly the energy consumption. And we do have even. I'm sorry. We do have even companies and firms that are really specialized in that, in helping companies. We do have it here in Morocco. I do believe in Canada you have it as well. That could help companies to determine their energy efficiency potential, and they come up with solutions for them and with equipments and technologies. And they could obviously compensate the lack of capabilities in detecting those best practices.
Okay, good. If you do this research again, Mehdi, what would you do differently?
I do believe, you know what? Because we're talking about a PhD journey here.
Yes.
Time is a big factor. Time is a big factor. We all know that. You know, you want, and you have 3 years. So in 3 years, obviously, you cannot know everything, and you cannot discover and explore all the field through and through. So what you could do. So what I did is opt in for a quantitative research. If it was maybe to repeat again in different contexts and different circumstances where I have more time, I do believe I could have complemented it with the qualitative research for sure, because knowing the perspective of people, knowing how they think, knowing exactly the origin of these barriers, and the more you let people talk, the more you will discover and understand about the topic. But you know what? We still have time, and they still have the intention to do it in the next couple of months. So I'm coming. I do believe it's going to be in the summer. I do believe, inshallah.
Finally, what did you learn through your research, and what is your advice to future researchers?
So during this PhD journey, obviously, you learn a lot. We all know that it's a learning experience. And you grow, obviously, as a researcher and also as a human being. As a researcher, obviously, you develop and you polish your skills as, the academic writing, the literature review, the software usage, the data analysis, and the others. It depends really on the researcher, but those are the basics that we all learn from our research.
That's true.
And as a human, obviously, you learn a lot. You learn patience. You learn to be patience a lot. It's a very important variable here.
Yeah. A lot of humbleness too.
Oh, yeah. Humbleness, you learn a lot about that. Even if you're not humble before, trust me, your PhD journey will humble you. And obviously, you learn, again, to be resilient and to be patient. Those are the things that you learn. And if I have to give an advice for further, for future researchers, I would say that if you want to have a great journey, PhD journey, especially if you want it to be followed by a good career, a good job, you should, I do believe, have the combination between two variables that are really important for me. You have to be, number one, you have to find a great supervisor. And number two, you have to be coachable.
Okay.
The second part is, I do believe it's easier to be coachable. It's easier. It doesn't require that much to be independent. Obviously, that is important. Being independent while asking questions, while in the same time be open to criticism from your supervisor, to be open to learn and to be willing to learn and to learn every single time new information. This is very important for me, to be coachable. And for me, this is the easy part. And for me, a thing which is harder is to find a great supervisor. A great supervisor. I do believe for the majority of them, they have the hard skills. They are experts in their fields, but they have to go forward and to have even more than that, and some soft skills, and the combination of it will make them great. And for me, the epitome of a great supervisor is my supervisor. He's Professor Mimoun Ben Ali, and I want to thank him from here for all his efforts and all his work with me and with other researchers, to be honest. From day one to that day, he's still asking, he's still calling me. We're still, talking to each other. So I do appreciate it. And will be always thankful to him. So I said the hard skills. He is an expert in his field. And these hard skills has to be complemented by soft skills. Again, he has to respect your independence. But in the same time, he has to be available for you, provide information for you, provide advice, and to be here to encourage you and to support you when you need it, because the journey is not easy at all. So, this is the combination for me, the magical formula for success if you are a PhD researcher. Great supervisor and to be coachable.
Thank you for your time, Mehdi. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Dr. David.